Again, 2 viewers. It's the same thing as this morning. BS. Media is pushing back pretty hard, saying right now there are people who are hiring illegals, and how is this thing going to stop them? And Starmer says, well, right now it's after that the documents are required, after they're hired, that they're required, and now the digital ID will be required right away. And I think that's kind of BS. There's a lot of BS on this whole thing, right? So we are being led down the garden path and being offered up plausible excuses for why this is necessary, but it is absolutely not necessary. And we're in a situation that is just crazy, and nobody wants to talk about it. I don't think, like, nobody's really interested in chatting about the full-blown takeover of the West, the lockstep of, because it seems they asked Carney, are we going to have a digital ID in Canada, right? The news media in England was asking Carney about this, and he said, no, not right now, no plans, right? But that's...
You mentioned that it's free. Well, isn't going to prison free as well?
Which is weird because an inmate costs like $80,000 a year or something like that to maintain, if you look at all the guards and stuff. But if they start locking up people like me or MC, because, look at how shifty he looks with his mask over there. If they
Aren't
start...
our jails full?
Right,
Aren't our jails full?
right. Where are
Our
they
jails
going
are
to...
full.
They're going
Our
to
jails
say...
are full already.
They're
And
going
our
to say you can't go on the internet.
Our
And
judiciary is
or a
like
library.
2-3 years behind, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. I don't think that there's any real justification for what they're doing. The only way I think any of this kind of stuff even really comes close to being justified is through the lens of a communist or totalitarian regime trying desperately... Oh, there's people on the stream now. Trying desperately to entrench their control fully before they completely lose control, before the wheels completely fall off.
Do you think
And
he gets ousted? Do you think he gets ousted real
who?
quick?
Carney?
Starmer.
Starmer.
Yeah.
If
Do you
if
think
they
he
oust
gets
Starmer,
the shoot tight
okay.
quick, and then they jam some other WEF guy in?
When Rishi Sunak left, they replaced him with somebody who was a loyalist to the end type deal. I think like going back before Rishi Sunak, like Liz Truss, Boris Johnson, all of these previous UK prime ministers and leaders, they were approved by the blob on top, like the group above all of this stuff. And so, and it's within the party. It's not even like they're removing the party. It's like when Justin Trudeau stepped down from Mark Carney. If
It's
Carney,
like your third. It's your third tier thing you're talking about. Yeah.
yeah, they're just gonna. But I mean, this one is built into the system in that the system allows the party to replace their leader, and if the party replaces their leader, then the leader of the country becomes somebody else. And if the Liberal Party replaces the leader, or if the Labour Party in the UK replaces their leader, it's still going to be the same people leading the same bad policies to the same place. And I don't see any option on the table
So
in
round
Canada,
and round and round.
yeah, in
Round and
Canada
round.
or in the UK to really end this. And a lot of people are getting upset with Donald Trump for his policies, saying he's basically allowing the same stuff to continue too. Now, I saw what he's doing in Portland, right? There's military on the ground. I saw what he's doing in Washington, D.C., getting rid of the crime. So, I mean, there's a difference in
RFK
a
Jr.
little bit.
was epic just recently. RFK Jr. said this is totalitarian freak show, man. Like,
Talking about,
careful.
yeah, I used it on my show this morning, talking about the digital IDs. I agree. It's totalitarian. It's the tools of totalitarianists, and it's concerning. And I don't know really, like, it seems obvious already, but it seems almost so in your face that people don't believe it.
It's frightening. And if people don't think it's frightening, like, man, you better wake up. Like, that is
Yeah,
not good. It's not good news.
but I think that it's the same thing as when, like, Charlie Kirk was talking about, and I use this in my show today as well, talking about the 1917 revolution and like the Bolshevik revolution. And he said, basically talking about how 1,000 people were driving that. And these kind of systems stay in place because I think people think somebody's going to come save them, or it's somebody else's responsibility. And, like, we're all not guilty of going along to get along, but we were talking about the other week, MC, about how this system is propagated by our participation, and we are participating in it. enthusiastically, like give me my chocolate cereal, right? And so that's how do you break free of this system that's got you imprisoned, and you want to be imprisoned. You're like, give me all of the sugar and also a side of drugs. Why not? Like it's a enticing system. And then they drop the other shoe, and it's like, well, hold on a second. I don't actually want all of this poison, really. Like, hold on, right? And so I don't know, man. It is an interesting conundrum. Scott, you got your hand up?
It's the problem really isn't digital ID or the misuse of it. The problem is that it's a 1-2 punch. Is that I don't see how they're going to push digital ID without digital currency. I can't see how it's one and not the other.
They're collapsing the currency into the digital currency. It's going to be.
Yeah, I saw the theory. Trump is going to hide their debt in the Bitcoin cloud, and then poof, it's gone.
And then devalue.
Everybody else shares that debt. Yeah. So I guess my point is made.
I love the idea. I think it's a genius idea. Like if you can lose your fortune in Bitcoin, why wouldn't you be able to lose $1 trillion debt? I just lost it. It was gone. We put it into Bitcoin, which we all know is very stable, and poof, gone.
It's just like treasury bills. So, and the problem with the second step, the digital currency, is that we already know what the plan is. It's programmable. I mean, how much of our policy has been lifted from the WEF? How many public videos have we seen from WEF and their supporters saying that the currency should be programmable?
My concern, I hear what you're saying, and we know what their plan is. Yes, we know what their plan is. It doesn't matter if their plan is stupid. It doesn't matter if their plan is demonstrably untrue. It doesn't matter if their plan is monstrous. It doesn't matter, because we have experienced a social schism between people who believe that men can be women and people who don't. And that is demonstrably not true. It causes harm. The puberty blockers that people are being put on are problematic and not reversible, as people claim, et cetera, et cetera. And yet,
do we call that the Joker theory? Is that's
the Joker theory? Yeah, right? A little bit, right? Like, as long as there's a plan, people will go along with it. And it seems like it doesn't matter if there are embedded people who are falsely supporting this in order to get the ball rolling. Groups will come up out of the woodwork to support these society-ending initiatives. And it doesn't matter how ridiculous on its face it sounds. People will believe what they're told. And it behooves us to acknowledge that reality and that truth, rather than to ignore these crazy ideas that keep coming out of the left. Because what happens is the left takes control of these crazy ideas, and then they manifest that reality. And we're all left standing here saying, like, what? Like, what are you talking about? This is insane. Obviously, nobody can do that. And then they say, oh, that's racist or sexist or bigoted or something like that. And it's like, no, that's basic biology. Like, this wasn't even supposed to be something that's supposed to trigger you. This is just discussing. This was like, you have to be this tall to have this conversation, and you failed.
Well, it's like putting a door on backwards and upside down and making people accept that you have to like bend down to grab the doorknob. That's just the way it is now.
Yeah,
like,
we can never fix this. This is the way it is. We're not going to look at reality. We're not going to examine the work. We're not going to take it off and be like, how could we make this work the way it's supposed to work? Nope. We're going to keep administering these surgeries. We're going to keep administering these drugs. We're going to keep doing this to these children who are vulnerable. We're going to keep these experiments going in the face of all of these other places around the world removing that. And because of that, it doesn't give me great hope that people are going to stand up and say, hold on a second. We should really think about this, or we should stop this. It doesn't matter the reality of the situation. What matters is people will do and believe what they're told, which is just
look at the Chinese EV market, right? It's such a scam. They bury millions of brand new cars, stick some license plates on it, and say that it's sold, and China has the best EV market in the world.
Yeah, I've
heard,
no
doubt, they're burying 7,000 acres of brand new cars all over China. It's just a toxic bin. I hear you.
Yeah. Thanks, Steve. And Scott, MC.
So, well, in the short term, I'm sitting in a bit of a loophole, and my advice to people is become a contractor. Yeah. The company I operate under has no employees. So Are all your employees have their digital IDs? Yep. Boom.
Yeah.
But like the thing about the US debt though, like just like, oh, we're gonna hide it off in this thing and then devalue it and it'll just be gone. Okay, like it's one thing if you lend me $10 and then I never pay you back, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's another thing if you owe China $7 trillion and you just like do this magic trick and go like, oh, sorry, China. Oh, how big's your army? Oh, geez. Well, you don't mind, right? We'll get you back.
What do you mean you have direct access via Vancouver and or Western Canada? What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean by all that? I don't know. What?
You could sell that much product into our economy again. Like, just take more of our fake debt. Like,
Yeah.
like what?
Yeah.
like,
No. Well,
so,
I'm not.
like,
I am
it's a
not
little
saying,
more serious.
I'm
right?
not saying that that's a good idea. I was watching Deadliest Catch the other day, and one of the captains pulled another captain's pot to see how much crab was down there, to see if it was worth fishing there. And that's kind of like underhanded. And I feel like it's the same kind of thing here. It's like an underhanded, sneaky kind of.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying?
It's fraud.
Yeah.
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 So a billion people don't like it when you defraud them all at the same time, right? And then
yeah, for sure.
and their
I'm not
government
saying it's a good idea.
Off all the largesse
I'm
doesn't-
just saying the mechanics of it would work, but I'm not saying it's a good idea. Right?
I think the mechanics of it might backfire because they're going to notice, like immediately, and go, you ripped us off. We have 20 million soldiers.
What if they give them the Bitcoin first before it's devalued? And that, like, listen, we know that you've got a problem with US dollars, wink, and so we're going to give you this, and then boom, it gets devalued. And you're like, sorry about that. Right after.
Same thing.
Yeah, it's fraud still. Yeah, it's a bad idea.
Yeah. But and as far as the for years we've heard the nobody's coming to save us la-di-da thing. The thing is, we're not even going to save each other.
No, we're not gonna save ourselves, man.
No.
Like if we were not dying in quicksand, we would lie face down in the quicksand and then yell because we're just behaving irrationally, it seems.
I am going to expend my last breath trying to save myself, though.
I agree.
Right. I know where my line is. I answer to me. I'm not answering to these guys anymore. Like technically I'm answering to them. Right. There we are. That's our downfall. Yeah. But like, yeah, someone's doing my taxes right now. Like,
right.
Like,
what do you guys think about C9 and C8? So do you guys know what C9 and C8 are?
Say them again.
C9 is the one that's tabled right now, and it is the most recent one that a whole bunch of people are very upset about and talking about with regards
online
to. It's not the online harms one. That's still yet to be tabled. They're going to table that in like October or November of this year, and they're going to hope for that to be passed early next year. But this one is the symbols and the hate symbols. C9 is essentially the hate symbols. They're going after the memers. Anybody who posts hate symbols publicly will be, potentially that's a hate crime, and you could be prosecuted for showing symbols or something like that. And they specified the swastika, the SS bolts, and
yeah, I see that on the guy's lawn. He did the swastika the other day. He mowed a swastika in the lawn.
Weird.
Did you see that?
No, I heard about that, and they got hate crime. Like two of them got the owners of the property. Two people.
He did it on purpose. It's just his grass, right? He can mow it. He just
First
he's
Amendment.
pushing buttons.
This is the United States, right? Or was it?
Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember.
Because
it was funny because
the United
he just
States
left and took a picture.
Right. Yeah. But the United States has more robust speech laws than was it in Ontario? Allison says it was Ontario. United States has more robust speech laws, so if they'd be more protected than Canada, I'd be interested to see. Did they get, Allison? If you know, did they get arrested or were there hate crimes levied towards them? They were charged. Okay. Yeah, wild stuff.
It's funny because I use a machine at work, and if it is unable to sync up with the satellite, then it only shows you one lightning bolt symbol. And if it is able to sync up with the satellite and get the time, then it shows you two lightning bolt symbols. Like,
what about the guys with all the tattoos? Are they instantly arrested?
Yeah, right. Like if you have tattoos that are hateful, how does that work? I mean,
You
again,
can't even resell those lampshades.
ching. I wish I had a rim shot. All I've got is a womp womp horn, but that was good. That was good. Um, damn.
Boom.
Yeah, there we go. It is human skin lampshades are so 1994, right?
It puts the lotion on its skin.
My gosh.
There
But
was
fundamentally, like, so when you have hate as defined as something as detestable, etc., like detestable and all this other mumbo jumbo around hate, it's not really something you can, put your finger firmly down on, right? And so if somebody finds it detestable that I have a position on X, Y, or Z, it doesn't matter what it is. Or if somebody says the Dominion Society's got a detestable position on X, Y, or Z, or, MC's got a detestable position on X, Y, or Z, how can that be proven that their interpretation of a hateful thing has happened and like beyond a shadow of a doubt or beyond reasonable doubt? You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff seems unlikely, is not even, it seems like they're rolling out censorship and calling it for your safety, comrade.
I thought hate was like a feeling
Well, that's it. How can you legislate against a feeling and saying like you're allowed to express yourself, but if you express this emotion publicly, then that's a crime, buddy. Like,
well, that's it.
but there's yeah. Go ahead.
I am so tired of them trying to tell me that I'm not allowed to feel a certain way or tell someone I feel a certain way. Like, I'm just going to ignore it. I'm going to ignore it. And eventually I'm going to get busted. Although everyone I mention my feelings to so far agrees with me. So I guess I'm living in an echo chamber of hundreds. Like,
yeah,
because I interact with people, right? And I'm like, this is BS. And like, yeah, we should do something.
Come on, MC.
Well,
you don't like people telling you who you actually are? You don't like me telling you who you are? I know who you are, MC. Let me tell you who you are. That's all. That's my biggest pet peeve. They don't know who I am.
I don't think anybody really knows what to do, and that's part of the problem, because like the people who are, and I've talked about this 3-level problem before, right? And I don't want to bore everybody with it, but I feel like we play the wrong game because the power base that we're attacking isn't actually in power. They represent power on behalf of the top base that actually does have power, and our game doesn't ever target them. And so it is by the structure of its existence, and I believe it does exist, we are, by participating in democracy as we understand it, we are propagating a system of a lack of control that hands control over to these oligarchs that have control over everything because they have control over this level of government. And so it's if we started addressing that problem, it's like we're addressing problems all around the actual problem that we need to address. And we refuse to look at that and say, here's the thing that we need to deal with. We don't do that. And I think that it's such a strange response. I think it's so strange because it doesn't indicate self-preservation. It doesn't indicate that we're even able to correctly identify what's going on. So many people are just being told what to think that they're incapable of critical thought and saying like, a government that wants the best for us wouldn't be adding carbon taxes. Like they just wouldn't. Like look at what the rest of the world is doing. That's not what they're doing, right? Like we're harming ourselves in pursuit of an impossible goal. Why does this make any sense? MC.
This goes back to the last show we did where I explained that most people are drones. And you were saying like you could train them all not to be drones, but the fact is we need like a good 70%. Someone's got to clean my hotel room, right? That person doesn't want to clean my hotel room. They have to, someone has to be persuaded by selling time to do that. And there's tons of things people, that people need to do, that need to get done that are like that. Mm-hmm. And there's enough. You can encourage certain traits in people. I'm not sure that you can train the majority of the population to step outside of the norm. right? Like
It's very
whatever the
difficult to-
norm they're trained in is where most people are going to stay.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. That's comfortable. And like people like that and they don't want to do anything outside of that. And
Yes.
if you suggest, and I mean like holidays and stuff, and I mean, it's interesting because Canadian holidays are being, I remember when I was a kid in elementary school in Guelph, Ontario, we would, the like week before Christmas, we would, and even 2 weeks before Christmas, the morning would be before recess, the first recess bell, everybody would come down to the gym and we'd all sing Christmas carols together. And we'd sing like religious Christmas carols like Silent Night and other religious ones, Away in a Manger. And then we'd also sing like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? And the grade sixes would sing, like Monopoly, right? And now my kids don't get to do that. And how come my kids don't get to do that? Because Christmas is offensive to some groups? That's crazy. Like, why has our culture been wholesale replaced and we're not even allowed to talk about it? It just seems like we are not, the self-preservation is like the couch we're sleeping on is burnt down. It's a miracle we're alive, and we're rolling over going back to sleep, and we're looking for the cigarette lighter to relight the smoke that's in our mouth, right? Like,
yes, you're on fire and they want to show you a card trick.
yeah, right, exactly. And it's like, oh, okay, so we're not going to do anything about this massive inferno of a problem. Mark Carney,
On my leg.
Yeah, that's happening all around me as you're finishing your smoke. Like,
Yes.
And why is Christmas so offensive? Like, define that. It's so weird.
well, it's
I
part of
don't
a
get it.
broader. It's part of a broader attack on Christianity, and the broader attack on Christianity is happening across Canada. They're burning down.
No,
churches.
come on. It's because it glorifies poverty to be born in a barn.
No, I think it's very. I think this is a religious. It's a religious battle, and imagine.
No, you're right. It's an attack.
And imagine,
Yes.
but imagine being able to convince the whole other side that basically your religion is not worth your time once a week. You are not really responsible for talking about your religion to your kids or your spouse or even to yourself. You're not responsible to that voice in your head, or not. I mean, there is that, there is a presence, right? I think, and it's undeniable. And we have been taught as a society to dismiss it as hokey. There are characters. I used to watch Doc Martin, but then every episode it's a doctor show in England, but every episode had a medical emergency, and I was like, I just can't deal with this. Because every episode, one time his wife, girlfriend, whatever, got hit by a car, and I was like, well, she's dead. Like, that's it. And I couldn't watch the show anymore. But it is, sorry, I can't remember the point I was making. Darn.
Well, and it was kind of denigrating religion, but there was
a whole character in Doc Martin that he went like super religious, and there was no context for any of it, and he would just like quote biblical things, and like they made it funny and stupid, and instead of treating it seriously and like we should have a conversation about this or include it seriously in part of the zeitgeist of Christian British like small town people, right? And like the characters treated him in a harsh way, and I thought that's weird.
When they do get serious about it, it's to say that the adherents of that religion went out and tried to colonize the whole world and
misrepresent what actually happened.
Other civilizations.
Yeah. They totally misrepresent it, and in doing so, they rewrite history. And if you say, well, hold on a second, that didn't happen the way they're saying, then you get treated like somebody who's trying to speak truth about the Truth and Reconciliation thing, which is ironic.
Whatever happened to movies like Mosquito Coast? Remember that one with Harrison Ford? He goes into the rainforest and there's religious. And do you guys remember that one?
No. Mosquito Coast? No, I don't remember that one. I remember Harrison
He
Ford.
built a giant refrigeration machine.
In Mosquito Coast? Was it to deal with mosquitoes?
The people were amazed because he was able to make ice in the tropics.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they didn't know how,
he used the old method of flammable fluid.
Yeah.
He used the
Really
old method
cool
of
movie,
heating
Mark.
up
You should
flammable
watch
fluid.
Yeah.
Interesting. No, I saw Witness. I saw Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw Indiana Jones, but I never saw that one. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, thanks MC and Steve and Scott. Go ahead.
what did the Christian Empire do when the kings of Europe converted to Christianity and ruled north? They uprooted the sacred groves. They built their temples off top of the old temples, not just because of it's where the people usually met, but again, to totally supplant that culture. What happened when the Soviets took over? They destroyed the churches. It's always the same pattern. We can't diminish how important religion is, despite the fact Christianity has been weakened in many ways. It's still there in our memories. It's still there in evidence in our recent past that it was a big part of our culture. And I think that's sorry.
No, sorry, you think that's I think that it's interesting how quickly Christianity has been burned out of our culture. Like, we have had a situation, I remember in grade 2 saying the Lord's Prayer, and I remember not knowing how to say the Lord's Prayer, and then my teacher calling my mom because she was concerned that I didn't know how to say the Lord's Prayer, and so I got remedial Lord's Prayer. And then they just scrapped the whole thing, and I was like, okay, but we still had to stand for "O Canada." And I just thought I think it's so interesting because it wasn't that long ago. I mean, like, I guess years wise, it was a while ago, but culturally it was the blink of an eye where kids were expected to know these basic religious tenets. And I would hazard to guess most kids don't know any of it now. You know what I mean? And but if you compare that to a Muslim country, right, their adherence would be very high, right? They would know the basics of their religions.
Well, it's a theocratic government.
Right.
As far as in school or someplace along the line being taught some basic Christian tenets, I think it's applicable. If you're going to say you're a Christian, then you should know a little bit about it, right? That's why we have the small C Christian.
Well, the numbers would crash if that was the rule. The numbers would be like 5%.
What organization are you a member of that you don't know the tenets of? You have a driver's license, right? You're legally allowed to drive.
Yeah, no, what I'm saying
Canadian society.
I'm saying broader society. They don't understand because most people say this is a Christian nation, although they would say it, they would grudgingly agree if they were on the other side, if they were on the leftist side, even though
the people might be, but the government is not. The government is separate from religion, or so be it. Not like in the Middle Eastern countries,
in the
theocratic.
No, in the charter it says Canada was founded as that recognizes God. Hold on, I'll read it because the phrasing matters. I'm looking for the PDF, sorry. It says, sorry, it's still loading and it's a PDF, so it's small. Whereas Canada is founded upon principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law. That's the first line of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. So, like, you can say that religion, church, and state are separate, but saying that the supremacy of law, the supremacy of God and the rule of law is recognized, and Canada is founded on the principles that recognize the supremacy of God and the rule of law, that is, I don't think that's disputed that it's talking about the Christian God. It's not talking about Allah, right? It doesn't say.
Then how come legally they stomped all over that Christian performer?
They stomp all over. They stomp all over it. They stomp all over the whole charter. It's not worth the paper it's written on. I understand. I agree there.
That's why I didn't bring it up, man.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't bring it up. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it's supposed to be there, and but within that context, a society that was founded respecting the supremacy of God and the rule of law doesn't really have an interest in either. And the politicians use the term rule of law as an Edgar suit. They pretend that they respect the rule of law if that rule of law means they can throw people like MC in jail, right? So somebody's at my door, and I hope somebody goes to answer the door. I think they are.
It's me.
I feel like if it's not Ed McMahon, it's definitely MC.
No, I'm thousands of miles away. And
apparently, yeah. Right. Apparently, the Publishers Clearinghouse went bankrupt.
They gave away too many millions.
Well, I mean, and then it said under the headline of the article, it said, "Lifetime winners will no longer receive winnings," and I was like. Right? That was my reaction too. I was like, hilarious. I won Publishers Clearinghouse last week. Wah wah, right? Like, no, we didn't take winnings into account for the whole operation of the Publishers Clearinghouse, obviously. So yeah, I feel like we are in a situation where people are not responding to the multitude of attacks that are happening to our freedoms. And it feels even worse than COVID, because it's not like I'm waiting for a COVID lockdown. I'm waiting for the arrests UK style to start. And I'm wondering if they're going to start with Rebel News or people like Greg or what, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like this weird Damascus sword hanging over anybody who posts anything on, and like, it's not just me who's like, I wonder if they're going to arrest me for the suspicious eyebrows and headline news that I cover suspiciously on my very, very limitedly watched YouTube channel, right? Like, how could they be mad at me? I don't even get 1,000 views a day. Like, influential little old me? Come on, right? Like, it doesn't pan out to me. Steve.
Yeah, quick one. Does anybody notice, like, say you make a comment on YouTube and
They're coming for you. Yeah, for sure. They know who you are.
And the comment stays? Like, you send, and then say you go to make another comment, and your last comment is still there.
Yeah.
It's like, are they copying that? What's going on? Did I say something bad? It only happens when my comments are kind of spicy, right?
Yeah. Yes. Allison's saying subscribing to me will be enough to get other people in the gulag. Never mind me, myself. They want the wider net of my people who watch me. They'll take those people to the gulag. And then when I have no audience left, then they'll take me to the gulag. And we'll have a party. The work camps will be great.
Yeah, it'll be like the casino movie where they all have, great dinners and different wines they have smuggled in. And we'll just plan different.
I've heard jails are fantastic, guys. All the shows. It seems real good. No, I don't want to go to a Canadian gulag. I feel like they would just send us north. Like, it wouldn't be fun. It would be the opposite of fun, I think. What do we want to talk about? The Carney's trips. So I do think that Carney is going to try and institute a digital ID. I think that we're going to be in a situation where he's going to bring it in. And I think that there maybe people were saying that the Estonian social credit system is the foundation of the digital ID, and that basically it's the same as social security number. Like, we've got a social security number. I've got one. Everybody in Canada, I think, has one, right? The SIN card, right? And so they were basically saying, we'll digitize that. That's basically what it is, except we'll offer all these services as part of the digitization. And I'm not saying I could get behind that, but there are a lot of people who would be open to that. Like, who was it? It was a teacher person that I knew, and they looked at what they were doing with the digital ID and they said, oh, that'll be so convenient for signing up for that stuff. And I was like, we're doomed. Like, it's like watching that video where the woman pays for the thing with her hand. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, look, I got it subdermally implanted so I could use my wallet, which is the wave of my hand.
Mark, think of the irony. It's called SIN card.
Yeah.
Say it 5 times.
Indeed,
right?
indeed. Scary. Back to the religious war. Anyway, did you have your hand up, and did I already call on you, Steve, or no? You're good. Okay. MC.
Well, I guess I was going to ask you, when they get your 2 viewers to testify, are they going to pretend that they were intimidated by your hate speech, or are they going to pretend that they became hateful and everyone around them was intimidated?
See, that's the other thing. They're going to say, or they are saying, that hateful conduct online leads to, dangerous actions out in public. But they're letting out violent criminals, like people. The conservatives suggested, why don't we have a 3 strikes you're out? If you commit 3 violent crimes, no more bail for you. But if I say, I don't know about this whole bullshit story they're pushing on this bullshit thing, I am a danger that needs to spend 10 or 15 years behind bars, maybe life, for hate speech. Because, you can't be skeptical of the government, that's hateful, right?
Ah,
They get to define hate.
they'll beat up a criminal who's out on bail while wearing some of your t-shirts.
So maybe, yes. How did
But I
this
hate
is
dog
mega
crap
country,
on my lawn. I hate dog crap on my lawn. Is that hateful?
right? See how, right? And if you do hate it that much, and they try and put you in jail for, crap on your lawn. Same with me. I feel like if they put somebody like me in jail, or like Kian Bexty, or like Rebel, what's his face, Ezra Levant, they're going to have a problem, and I don't think it'll stand up in the Supreme Court. But also, I have the real stories of Tamara Litch, Chris Barber, the Coots guys, who one of them's still in jail. And that's insane. Nobody seems to be able to get them out. So if they have a pretense to come and take somebody like me, and then they say, here's your gruel, Mark, and I say, listen, I have some special water that I'd really like access to. And they don't let me, and they say, like, he's being hateful, and he's even more hateful in jail. You wouldn't believe the hateful things he says. Here's his cell, and it's like, a picture of chocolate cereal and, like, a couple of other hateful symbols. You're done. And they're like, what's that? Oh, chocolate. That's Mark brand chocolate cereal. Like, don't share that, right? Like, it's ridiculous.
Where are they going to put you, Mark? They got nowhere to put you.
They'll put me in the warden's broom closet, and they'll make me do his taxes. I've seen Shawshank, and if I'm obtuse, man, they'll put me in the hole for 30 days.
So whether or not they're gonna, like, you might be able to gauge it like this. I gauged retrospectively Alberta in 2020 because first Kenny came out and said we can't make everyone wear masks. That's unconstitutional.
He sure did.
But then there was a media frenzy, right? Aren't you going to make us wear masks? Shouldn't you be making us wear masks? And getting louder and louder until they're having doctors like, doctor, what's going to happen if he doesn't make us wear masks? Oh, we're all going to die.
Yep.
Of course we should be forced to wear masks, until finally he flips. So if Carney comes back and then the media starts asking him, like, shouldn't we go ahead with this digital ID to get a handle on all these illegal immigrants and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Then if they hype it like that, then maybe he's going to do it.
Yeah, plausible, because
If they don't hype it like that, then maybe it's just a thing we're watching happen in England until next year.
See, I think they're floating the balloon, and they're seeing how easily they can implement this over what kind of political opposition and then social opposition as well, right? So, like, Keir Starmer's already pretty disliked. If he gets this in and then they remove him after that, it's like Kickstarter goals. They'll get a person in, and they've got a goal to achieve. If they can get the goal, then they get their golden retirement package, and they get shuffled out, and they get a plum UN appointment or something like that.
Yeah, but I think too, like England, like I thought of England as a socialist place 20 years ago. Like England has been more
National Health Service.
Yeah, for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't even do gun confiscation.
So when did the National Health Service come into existence? Like, I don't know. I don't know either. Is it after the 1910s, or is it something that's been long standing since like the 1800s? Like, was there a national right after the war, says Allison? Some people say that a certain group of people and or one specific group of people, they say Rothschilds took over medication and healthcare. And so if it's after the Second World War, that all lines up nice and tidy with all of that. And then that's $1 billion industry, right? Like, if you can get people sick and then sell them the cure, but not a cure that actually cures them, but a cure that lessens their symptoms. Now you've got a membership month after month, year after year. They're going to keep coming back for that, whatever it is that you give that provides relief from those symptoms that are caused by maybe something that you're doing, maybe something that's in the food. Who knows where, right? But it's some people say that, I don't know, but very plausible that lines up. And so National Health Service, if something's free, what is the old adage? If they're handing something out for free, maybe you're the product, right? Like if Facebook's free, everybody was like, I can make a Facebook page and I can upload all my pictures. And then I remember not too long after that, I worked in a school at the time, and people were coming in and sharing memes of images they had uploaded to Facebook that Facebook had sold to advertisers in Asia. So they were like family photos of like people's vacations were being used to sell like whitewater rafting trips in like small town Asia, like to tourists and stuff. And they didn't realize that at that time Facebook was using and selling their image content to advertisers. And it's like, holy cow. Like,
So wait, so this would show up on a computer screen in Thailand. Look at this happy white family enjoying the
it
whitewater
was not,
rafting.
no, it was printed out. It was printed out on the,
Oh, printed.
yeah, it was like a
It's-
billboard.
Same argument though.
Yeah.
Like
Oh yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Like
because
you
people
couldn't
took a
find
picture of it.
local people to be in your tourism ads.
Yeah.
Like,
What had
we
happened?
live here.
Yeah.
There's
What had
millions
happened?
of us.
What had happened is I think the family themselves, or like the brother or the sister or something like that, they were in the town in Asia, and they were going to the whitewater rafting place or something like that, and they came up to it and they're like, "Hey, isn't that Jerry? Or isn't that isn't that your brother?" Right? And they're like, "Hey, man, did you know that this place is using your family to sell this?" Right? And they're like, "Holy shit, Paul, that's like I uploaded that to Facebook last year." And so like Facebook, there was an issue about it. I think that they had to pay some people, and like they were like, "Okay, we won't do that anymore." But yeah, no, it's pretty wild. But if you are not the if you're not paying for this service, and at the time having a website was difficult. I mean, I guess having a website now is difficult, but like it's not for me, but like other people, I guess. But there's a lot more options, and then there wasn't really anything that you could easily like upload and share your pictures and like share it with your family and things like that, I guess. And so people went wild with it, and people were warning, if you're not paying for this, then you are maybe what people are paying for access to. And the NHS, I don't think, is much different. And it's interesting that nobody asked any questions about that. So you're just going to give us healthcare for free? Healthcare. What does that even mean? Healthcare. Free? We have to pay for it through taxes? I don't know, man. The whole thing, it's a very, I feel like it's very easy to write whatever kind of reality you want. All you do is arbitrarily choose a date, and then like all of a sudden Canadians are racist. And 10 years later, that's an unquestioned truth. What? Like, that's not true. What the hell are you talking about? That's insane. Canadians aren't racist. We're the nicest people on the planet. But they've successfully inverted the whole idea that, well, they've successfully made the creation of the country some kind of act of war or something like that. And I don't think that that's how, like, there were a lot of written treaties. There's a lot of negotiation. There's a lot of apologies. There's a whole lot of other stuff that happened that nobody's talking about. Steve?
Okay, here's the thing. I did like a big motorcycle tour in my 20s across Canada, US, and Mexico for like 9 months, right? And I wrote a book, and I flash 20 years later, I read parts of the stories and everything, and I told them, and nobody believed me that life was like that, and that it's weird. It's how they wanted to erase my own thoughts and feelings and experiences, and it's so hard because there wasn't, film cameras, and yeah, I had pictures and everything, but it's like society didn't want to believe that was possible to do.
Well, I think that people look at what's happening now and they don't believe that it's possible to even do that. And like, I think that applies to COVID as well. They look at what happened.
Yeah, that's why
during
I'm
COVID.
tying it in. You carry on. That's why I'm tying it in. That was a personal experience that somebody's trying to remove almost a year of my life, where I spoke with, I would say over 100,000 different people from 3 different countries in a period of a year, and people just don't want to believe that it's true.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, just with what's going on with COVID, the official story is that the government was responding to a real, clear, and present danger, and they weaponized the government against a subset of society that posed a danger because they refused to get vaccinated with a vaccine that didn't work. It just falls apart upon any kind of scrutiny at all. And because it falls apart, I have to conclude that people aren't thinking. They're not using their head. And so like or we're being lied to and isolated to a point where we are incapable of mounting an offense. And so we are reactionary. And
nail on the head, Mark. Nail on the head. That's why I like your shows and stuff. You pinpoint that so accurately. It's good.
Thanks, man. But yeah, no, we're unable to recognize it, and because we can't recognize it, because we can't name it, we can't fight against it. We can't get organized against it, and that also serves as a way to entrench their power. Scary stuff, man. It's a wild ride. It's not good. It's not good. What else do we have here? The Charlie Kirk stuff. This is crazier and crazier, right? Like, I was hoping that Noel and maybe Bill were going to be here, but I do understand that it was kind of short notice today, and I'm glad people are getting out and seeing other people and doing stuff. But
you're right, Mark. Blood doesn't go backwards.
It's
I mean?
It's a weird situation. Like, the whole thing is a weird, and I mean, I saw comparing the jellyhead ballistics thing to what actually happened with Kirk's head and neck. They don't look similar at all. The info and video are being questioned. Oh, you'll have to explain a bit more, Allison. I don't know what you mean by they're being questioned. Well, unless you're saying the official video. Yeah. The official video. Yeah. KJ says I have questions about her wife and her conduct as well. The video. Okay. I understand what you mean, Allison. The video with his wife in the music video, and apparently she's significantly older than he is. And I heard it was Whitney Webb, because I said before that I heard that Donald Trump introduced them, and that was from Whitney Webb. And I was sure it was a source that I thought was believable. So I don't know where she got her information. I also heard a story that they met, that she's 5 years older than him, and they met, which sounds strange, but she's a pretty gal. But still, that's strange. And they met in a pilgrimage to Israel. And I was like, really? So I don't know which one's true. But yeah, there's weirdness all around everything to do with the shot from the roof, the video footage on the ground. There were two guys who looked to be cleaning up the crime scene right after he was shot and on the ground, and they were removing evidence, and two of them who were doing security ran away, which seems weird, but would get lost in the confusion. Like, what happened to you? Oh, I was helping blah from blah, right? Like, maybe plausible, but I don't know, man. The whole thing seems, the more time goes on, the weirder and weirder and weirder it gets.
It's sketchy, Mark. It's really sketchy, the whole thing.
Yeah, man. MC, what do you think?
Well, it's all speculation. The latest thing I heard today was that the guy they have in custody says he wasn't even there. It turns out his dad didn't turn him in. That was just a bunch of stuff that they made up.
See, crazier and crazier. I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
I haven't heard anything. Really. I haven't heard anything other than it looks like he was shot from the back, and then when you watch the video, you're like, oh yeah, like definitely does look like that for sure.
Yeah. But watching any of videos of the shooter, I wouldn't be able to look at any videos I've seen of the shooter and go, oh yeah, it's that guy. Right. It's Hank.
Yeah. Or
right?
even
it's just some guy in an outfit.
Yeah. Or even the more broad, there was the camera, the video surveillance camera. KJ says she calls BS on all of it. The other shooting last week I can't see the rest of it. I'll read it in a second, KJ. But there was a surveillance camera that showed where the shooter would be on the roof. And instead of showing that part where he's supposedly dismantling the rifle, they only show when he comes out the other side running. All of that is like, whoa, I don't understand why anybody can look at this and say, definitely 100%, we've got him. And there's no questions, especially guys like Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, and why?
Yeah, what happened to those guys? Yeah, that's the question this raises.
Somebody said,
yet again.
Yeah.
After Epstein and now this and whatever else, like what happened to them?
Yeah, I agree. KJ says she calls BS on the shooting last week, and the casings apparently had engravings on it. How did they tie the bullet, the 303, with the trans furry murder cult? Whatever meme was on it. How did they found it in Charlie Kirk's Superman titanium strength neck bone? Like, give me a break. I don't think so, right? So yeah, the whole thing, super duper strange. I don't understand it myself. I think that it's, I think there's way more going on here than meets the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard Laura Loomer just this morning saying you're going to see people who are close to Charlie Kirk claiming XYZ about Israel. And I was like, oh, here we go. Like, oh my gosh, here we go. We're never going to hear the end of this. Like, this is not going to be like Turning Point USA is done. And then there's all these other like Charlie Kirk wannabes who are super Christian and super this and super that. And none of them seem genuine at all, right? They all seem like me and the Pope are going to be super best friends. And I'm like, oh, that's a red flag. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Trans-free killers from outer space. Yeah, absolutely. No, there's nothing. There's nothing about this that sits right with me. And if they did have something that like had this guy dead to rights. I wanted to talk about the Kash Patel stuff. I don't know what the heck they've got on. I don't know what they showed them. I don't know what they onboard them with. Like, welcome to the FBI. We know, like that scene in Men in Black where Will Smith goes through like the hardest interview ever and he makes it and he thinks, I'm going to be top guy. And then Tommy Lee Jones walks him through and shows him all the aliens and all the other crazy stuff. I feel like Dan Bongino and Kash Patel were like, hey, gentlemen, we're about to blow your effing mind and you're about to understand why everybody in your position does exactly as we say. And then by the end of the tour, they're like, oh, shit. Okay. Right? Like, we've got you dead to rights. Everything you care about will be destroyed with the push of this button right here. And I'll push it. And just to prove to you that I'll push it, here's Stanley, everything you care about. Beep. Done. And that's all done. If you cross us, we'll do the same thing to you. Okay? Have a good day. Right? Like, and then they go and say, Epstein killed himself, definitely. 100% killed himself. There's nothing that we can find that Epstein didn't. Nope. He killed himself. That's it. Here's the tape that proves it with a minute missing. Oh, you noticed that. Next question. Like, right? There's nothing that I'm going to believe. And I mean, I felt bad when the Charlie Kirk, right when he was shot, I thought, like, my initial thought was, oh man, they killed him, which is terrible. And my second thought was, this is going to be worse than the JFK thing because we're never going to know the reality, but we're going to have all sorts of video footage of it, but we're never going to know the truth. And I feel that's true too. And I said from day one, I don't believe the official story. Whatever they say the official story is. Do I think he's dead? So, okay, I saw his hands were yellow, right? His hands were all yellow, right? In the casket, they're supposed to be yellow hands. And people were saying it's makeup. And other people were saying it doesn't make sense. He looks like a mannequin. They did look like mannequin hands. I don't know. It occurred to me that he might not be dead. But also, I don't know that he'd participate in a hoax where he's brought back to life. You know what I mean? Like where there's any kind of like, oh, you were dead and now you're back alive. Like that'd be a bit gory, be a bit gauche for his whole, like, I'm a very evangelical Christian.
Kind of smacks of Antichrist a little bit.
Right? Like it would be like him wearing an upside down cross for the lols, right? Like it wouldn't fit somehow. Like there would be a weirdness to it that like people wouldn't be like, oh, it's Charlie Kirk Easter. Like nobody would be, I don't know.
No.
Ministering to Elvis. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And Biggie and Tupac, they're all hanging out. They're all waiting for that. They're all going to be in Home Alone. There was like already a Home Alone 4 and a Home Alone 5. They're terrible. Yeah. I don't know. He's probably dead, but if he's not actually dead, Charlie Kirk is dead. You know what I mean? Like he can't come back and take over Turning Point USA and be like, we were just messing with you guys. I wasn't ever dead. Right? Like, I don't think that's in the cards. It wouldn't work. People wouldn't tolerate that.
Maybe he's back on his island. He has so much food and different buildings and everything. Just shut off all the cameras and maybe he's just living there.
Does he have I didn't know.
Epstein?
Epstein. I thought you said Charlie Kirk. I was like, I didn't know he had that much money. I heard he had a restaurant business, and I was like, that's low margin. Yeah. Like you'd think like margins would be high. No.
No. Restaurants is great money laundering. You just crank your food card and everything.
I guess so. Yeah, okay.
Why do you think enough. Why do you think that's so popular in Vancouver, right? You go to dry cleaners and you can buy cheap smokes out of their suits. They just press the button and you buy cheap 25 packs that they don't sell in BC, and you buy them for $3 each. And
they're all native smokes. See, I never got all these tricks.
no, they're not natives. They're like
They're
full
not.
on Demoriers and
Yeah,
stuff. I
for
don't know how
real.
that.
Holy smoke!
I don't know. Yeah, that in the 90s, I used to
Buddy.
just go to the laundromat and buy $4 packs of 25s.
That's
And
crazy.
the guy would just have suit jackets, and he'd just press the button and pull packs or cartons out of the yeah.
There was a coffee time donuts, coffee time, country time. No, I think it was coffee time, and it dealt drugs out of the drive-through. And it was well known that it was dealing drugs out of the drive-through. So pretty wild stuff. The late 90s, early 2000s, back way before. That was when they were trying to outlaw cigarettes in the bars. And so
Hair salons in the West End in Vancouver, they used to pump out the weed like you wouldn't believe,
Oh,
man.
yeah?
You go pay for a $25 haircut, and you could buy an ounce of weed for like, half price. It was
Wow.
full on underbelly, right?
This is
Anyway,
incredible.
I never did it because I wasn't part of the gay crowd in the West End, but
Yeah.
I heard all about it.
Wild. Yeah, I'm concerned. The pace of things seems to be picking up with regard to the moving forward with the ideological whatever is next. So I don't know where this is going, but I don't like it one bit. MC, we're gonna wrap it up. So take us home.
The other day I was at a lounge, and here's a new thing. The debit machine that they hand you to pay for your food and stuff at the lounge now has a camera on it. The new ones. This one was new, and it had a camera.
Was it integrated with Shopify?
I don't know. It looked like a regular old debit machine, except that the girl, before she handed it to me, said, "I don't get this. I don't know why I would ever want to take a picture with a debit machine." And then she handed it to me, and I'm like,
think darker.
It's not for that. And then, of course, I put my thumb over the camera. And when you put your thumb over the camera, the keypad stops working. So then I found out that if you hold it sideways, so you're just peering around and you can barely see the numbers, but hopefully you're out of frame, then the keypad will work. And the next day I found out that if you take out your cell phone and you turn on the flashlight of your cell phone and shine that directly into the camera will still work.
Interesting.
So there's ways around it.
Will work, yeah.
Ways
around it for now. But
for now, yeah.
They're gonna,
until they get decent facial recognition.
They're gonna patch those bugs. Yeah, AI will be like, we have to turn this camera off because clearly somebody there's a malfunction in the light, something or other. Oh yeah, man, it's gonna be wild.
My workaround is I'm going to pull up a picture of someone on the internet on my phone and hold that.
Yeah, really. Eh?
But
yeah, you can.
Why is the thumb the only thing they thought of? They never thought of a bright light or just pointing it into space.
Yeah.
Make it Javier Melee or something, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking Carney, although that would probably break my phone.
Yeah, for real. They wouldn't be happy about that. I don't know. That's pretty dystopian already. But yeah, it's interesting as well that people can't conceive of why totalitarian governments would want this kind of stuff. I try and get my kids to think about like the world around them and like watching cars, because you can see what a car's intent. My daughter's going to be driving eventually, right? So like you can see a car's intent a little bit beforehand. So I try and get them to like notice what's around them. And it's like people do not notice what's going on, and they're purposely encouraged not to notice what's going on. And it's all part and parcel of like, don't think critically. You know what I mean? And also like these phones and stuff, these screens rob kids of like that downtime to sharpen their wit, sharpen their thinking about things. Like a friend of mine, he was a friend of mine 20 years ago. I haven't talked to him in a while now. But he was one of the fastest guys, just would come back with razor sharp retorts about everything. And he was hilarious. And he said that he used to play 20 questions with his sister, but it's a duck. And so you're supposed to be like, it's a duck, and you're supposed to get as many questions. He enjoyed the game. And I thought like him and I tried to play it a couple of times, but we were drunk most times and I didn't do very well. So he's like, you're an idiot, right? I'm like, I'm drunk, like, shut up. So we live together.
Was it always a duck?
Always a duck. Always a duck.
You should have clued in. Like, even if you're drunk.
But that's the point. The point of the game is to get as many questions where it's not obvious that it's a duck. So, right? Like it's working around it. It's working within these, it sharpens your skill to ask questions that don't actually give any information. I don't know. I thought it was a funny way. I thought it was funny, and I thought it sharpened. He was very witty, and I think one of the reasons he was witty is because he would come up with crap like this, and I was like, wow, I would never think of that.
That reminds me. The other day, a woman asked me, "What's my favorite position?" And I said, "Chief Inspector." Nothing else notable happened that day.
I think maybe that is a you problem. Whoops, that's the worst. You're like, all you have to do is take it. You're on the 1 yard line, man.
Yeah,
and you threw it to the other end zone. All right, with that, we will end our kitchen table talk. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Sorry that it was such short notice. I'm glad we were able to talk about the digital IDs. So thanks for watching. Hopefully we'll be as regular next week.